last time. And now the conclusion.
Rubber hose, a little bit of foam rubber. There it is. Okay, it's a little tight there. It'll wear in. Sneak this through. So let's look at the wiring here on the front end. Obviously it needs some work. God, okay, you're just gonna see it later. What are you doing? Are you trying to put those glasses on inside your helmet? You look like a fucking idiot. Normal glasses don't fit inside your helmet because the sides are too rigid. Even if you can get them in there, look how stupid they sit on your face. That's not right at all. Here, try these out. These are flying eyes. They have flexible sides and they easily fit inside the helmet. There's no pressure points and they sit in the right place. They have a variety of sunglasses, prescription glasses, on or off the motorcycle, sunglasses or not, or even just your everyday glasses. If ordering glasses online seems a bit risky to you, be sure to check out the try-on kit. I have a pack of 4 sent to your house and see which ones you like best. You'll find a link in the description. If you use code GIXXER10, you can save 10%. So quit looking like a fucking idiot and get yourself some flying eyes. Hello, well, it's a few days later. I figured it all out. Actually, I did it immediately. This looks really good here. Look at all this. Yeah, now I put them all on. That wiring's all done and I've checked it. It's good. I've wired the other ends. I'd sent a picture to Mr. Brah of the progress with his bike and he said, you do remember that these plastics, the side plastics, have to go on after the front end is on, right? I said, of course I remember that. Of course I remembered that. I don't remember that, but that's all right because I needed to pull this one off anyway. I need to come in here and trim this for his little race cage thing. I might have to take some more off, but I think that could do it. For this inside bit right here, looks good. Okay, you got a whole new headlight. Oh, they've done the dumb thing. This plastic is like infused into like, oh my God. I always heard people complain about these monster fairings and they were a monster pain in the ass. But in all honesty, it's not that bad. Like these are mostly 90% there. A little flex here and there. What I've had to do several times is take a drill bit like this and open it for the really small holes that the little push pins go in. And I actually just run it in reverse. It just steps right through. That's a lot of work to do all these plastic molds and they're like pretty much good. I mean, like anyone who's done like aftermarket dirt bike plastics, you know, they're way worse than this. They're flex and bang. I mean, they just sort of accept it, you know, it's no big deal. I think I need to put those side pieces on now before I take it over there. I think. I don't know. So those things, it almost seems like you should have this on before the headlight's on, but if you have this on before the headlight's on, that doesn't give you room to put that in. Because you can't put it together after the fact because you couldn't get to that screw. The other one won't come apart too. It's funny, I have all the screws out. Everything is out and it won't come apart. This is what drives me nuts with sport bikes. They're like unnecessarily like a puzzle piece. I'm figuring it out. It's goofy. This one has to go on first because they overlap. I don't know how I'm gonna get to this screws once they're in to put the headlight on because this is in the way. This was already finicky getting it onto 4 places. Now I have to get it onto 6 places at once. Somehow fish it in here. This is how you do it. This is the part where you get on the ground and you kind of like squeeze it and twist it at the same time. This is just the procedure, don't worry. Doesn't even need screws. All right, I got it all together, don't ask. Now I gotta put these LEDs in here. Well, it's straight up and down, so I guess that's it. I'm sure that won't rattle around and make silly noises. So yeah, it's basically all together, don't ask questions. And again, I kind of went and sized it up on there, and you really got to have these in now, which is just more stuff to flex. I don't know, man. I'm gonna flex you over here. Flex you over here. How in the, why? Why are you like this? All right, that is bolted on now-ish. I think the mirrors help hold it in better, but look, this does all work. That's probably just blinding you, but it works. Okay, cool. Let's try to get these in here without knocking these little well nuts out. Mini plastic washers underneath them so we don't scuff everything up. So we did put new tips on the mirrors, which we're gonna throw on now. These things used to suck, you know, these are just cheap, whatever LEDs, and now it's funny, they just work pretty darn good now. It looks good, that's bright, don't look at that. Just for double check. Yep. I've got 300 things to try to make slip together. We need to reinvent how we do these because this is a stupid way to do this. What he was using, you know, the first thing is a spacer. If that's the level he wants it at, I need to find a spacer that's that long. If you really want to put these engine bolts in with a jack under it, you can actually get these properly torqued. Because remember, when we pulled these off initially, no real weight on this thing. Did find a correct size spacer. We don't need all that spacing. That's all we really need. It fits in the slot there, so that should do the job. He also just had like way too long of a bolt, and I think some of that spacing was because of that. So this is the correct size. We'll torque all this once we get everything into place. Throw a little bit of blue on here, not the red stuff. Only because to even take this side fairing off, you have to pull this every time. Much less janky like this. We won't go any tighter than that for right now until we get the rest of it in there. I get to see if I trim this fairing enough. I haven't actually looked at that yet. Goes in there. You take a little more off. I think I can freehand that. That's our best. Probably should have put the Loctite on the threads before I stuck it through, but you know, we can just plop a little in the bolts here. Oh my God. That's how people die. Got it set around 30. It says 40, but I'm gonna try to get a start for 30 on each side, then work my way to 40. Let's walk around up to 40 now. Snug that down now. There's a place for some dual lock to go. I'll fully lock this on because I want it to stick to the plastic. Just do like a little spot. Haha, that did work. Sweet. This final little plastic here is kind of goofy. It's just held on by a bunch of adhesive. I think I did a halfway decent job with that. Probably remove more of that crap that's on there, but I got a lot of it off. It could be done, but there is one thing I do really want to do. Your boy here, he's got the Impact Tech clutch on here, and the problem is when you go to these aftermarket clutches, you lose the clutch switch, the thing that tells the engine that the clutch is in or out. When you don't have the clutch switch, if you're in gear and you try to start the bike, no starting. So that means you'd have to find neutral every time you want to start. And heck, I think on these Suzukis, it doesn't even matter if you're neutral. Fix to that, oftentimes, is just to pin the two wires together. And if your bike has got a simple enough sort of ECU tune, that's totally fine. But most EFI bikes, even 20-year-old ones like this, if you do that, you're gonna get some funny stuff. The engine thinks it's free revving, the ignition timing's all wrong. It's actually, like, not only does it not make the right power, it's bad for the engine. You can cause some issues, like kaboom, bad issues, detonation, no good. So what the trick thing that a lot of people end up doing, like Mr. Brah here's done, is he adds a little switch here. Really funny thing is you didn't even use a momentary switch, you used one of these switches. So you click it on, then you can start, then you have to remember to click this back off every time. Well, that's annoying. What I like to do, I've done this on a few bikes here, is we're gonna rewire this pass light into being a momentary switch that does what this does right now. So all I really have to do is cut these and then solder them into these. It's all good. The only thing he's not gonna have anymore is the pass light. He can just do it the boring way with his actual thumb. He can actually turn the high beam on and off. I mean, this guy's going too far. He doesn't do that. He's not riding around trying to tell people he's passing. That'd be silly. There's no time for that. No time. The cool thing about this too, it doesn't even matter which order we put these in. You know, I know we often like to think about wires being positive and negative, but now these are just both positive, just completing a circuit. And that switch there, when that contactor closes, it just closes the loop. And to make life even simpler, we'll use these little heat shrink solder mix. Super freaking convenient. I love these things. Okay, let's try something here. Holding the starter button down, and I'm gonna push the pass light. Just button this back up. See, nothing's happening. I love it. I guess it's kind of done. We just need to do a shakedown run on it. It's been a while. I know this has taken a long time, but got a lot of stuff going on. We'll talk about that in another video, but it's been a weird year. We'll get out there and ride it though next video.